Real Estate Masters. Everything you need to know about real estate, from buying and selling a house and the latest in local development and community projects to investing in local, national, and international properties. And now, here are two people who know their way around all things real estate, Tamika Bryant and David Johnston.
Welcome to this week's episode of Real Estate Masters on TV25. I'm your host, David Johnston, and my co-host, Tamika Bryant. This week, we have the lovely Miss Debbie Glassberg, who owns a container home here in Kansas City. So we're very excited. This is a beautiful home. If you've not seen it in some of the magazines and other places it's been featured, it's really a spectacular home. So Debbie, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
I'm excited to actually have David here and bring our watchers, our viewers, into your home. I've been here once before, and it's spectacular. Just the views from the house, the lighting, everything about it. And so I know the history of it, but our viewers have never been here. So if you can take us through, how did you get started? Where did this concept come from? How did that get in your head? Like, this is not something that just you wake up, or for me anyway, wake up and say, oh, I'm going to build a multi-level container home in the middle of Kansas City.
Well, I moved back to Kansas City about 10 years ago,
Okay.
and I had been a toy designer for 25 years. I had worked on Polly Pocket and a lot of other small dolls that had homes, so I was used to working
It's your
on...
dollhouse.
So I was
Okay.
used to working on designing spaces and using that space pretty well because it had to get into a pretty small package. And you know, my father has a company that he has an office in China, and just by that factory is a big container company. And so the year I came back, he said, you know, I think you should go with me on this trip and take a look, because I think they're making houses with these containers. This could be an awesome business for you. So I went, and we toured the factory, and the interesting thing was my dad is a big out-of-the-box thinker, and he said, can't you make these containers a little higher? And they're like, yes, we can. We can make them 12 foot high. So 3 of the containers in my house are 12 foot high. And that gives you a lot more space. And so I came back home, I started doing a lot of research, and then I started looking for my architectural partners, and I decided to use BNIM because they're such a great firm here in our town, and they've been awesome to work with. So I've been in this house about 6 years, and
How did you pick the site location?
you know, I lived in Crestwood, and I would walk from Crestwood to Brookside, just, you know, trying to get a little exercise, and I kept on walking by this empty lot. And I was like, you know, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to live it myself. I'm going to have to build the house of my dreams. And so I did.
It's kind of interesting because it's a very contemporary home. It's not a traditional type of home that would fit in a Brookside neighborhood where we have a lot of bungalows and smaller homes. Did you get any pushback from the neighbors or concerns or?
You know, they had suspended the bungalow rule, and so the neighbors really, nobody said anything. What we did is we were very careful with the setbacks. We put a front porch on the house like the rest of the houses.
Mm-hmm.
We had viewing windows like the bungalows. So we have the garage where it's set back the same way. So, you know, and then we painted it this sort of sky blue. And, you know, I think it goes well with the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And people love it. So it's been great.
Could you take a few minutes and tell us, because you have a great front yard as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
and it's very atypical as well.
So I have an all-edible yard, and that's because I do a lot of raw food, and I had this empty yard to plant, and I didn't want to plant grass, and so it's become part of what I'm doing. So in my future developments, I'm going to be doing all edible offerings.
Okay, very
So do
good.
they make, like, you have donuts out in the front? Because
Well, you know, I could have...
I just need to pop by a little more
I
often.
could get those donut peaches, but no, it's all vegetables. And it's, you know, the great thing about it is that when I moved on the street, it probably was the messiest street in the neighborhood. Now everyone's cleaned up. Now there's like 3 or 4 people who also have edible gardens. So I think I've inspired a lot of people to grow their own food, which has been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long did it take to build this house?
You know, it took It took about a year because, with the containers and how you have to insulate them, you have to do things at certain times and temperatures. So,
Okay, for example.
well, it's just the spray foam. When you spray in foam, you have to be at a certain temperature to do it. So, timing and then finance. When you run out of money in the middle of your project, you got to stop for a little bit. So it took about a year. Yeah.
What other type of challenges did you run into in the process? Because it probably wasn't the easiest
well,
thing that's ever been done.
If you're a perfectionist, you will hire and fire people.
You a perfectionist?
Hire
No.
and fire a few
I would never.
people
By looking at your house, I would never have guessed that.
So and I've been through different spaces. How many rooms are in?
Well, this is a 5-container home. God, how many rooms? Well, it's 2,600 square feet. There are 2 bedrooms and bathrooms, but there's also a little room downstairs with a bathroom that somebody could sleep in. I have a full office. I have a great big room for entertaining. So there's a lot of different rooms.
Right, there's a lot of space.
Yeah.
And if you walk through, and I know it's maybe a little hard for people to understand, every room is decorated. And did you do all of the decorating as well?
Yes, I did all the decorating. I really tried to actually sort of tone it down from my toy world, but I think it didn't happen.
So you picked out everything?
Yes.
And,
Picked out all the materials, and that's sort of what I'm good at. So. Yeah. Well, some people like it. So, I am going to be doing this professionally. So, my market for my product is going to be the millennials, and I feel like because I've already been designing for them anyway in the toy industry, I may already have them suckered into my style. So I'm hoping that's going to work for me.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your future endeavors in just a few minutes here when we get back from break. So thank you for watching us on Real Estate Masters on TV25. We'll be right back.